I'd like to call the Board of Library Trustees meeting to order this Tuesday, May 25th, 2021.
So first is a reorganization after the election. Wait a second. Of course, my computer wants to restart now. Wait a minute.
I move that Corinne Cafado be the chair of the Board of Library Trustees for the upcoming year.
Thank you.
A second.
And do you have to pick a vice and
We're going to vote on it all at once or individually?
Karen, you probably should do roll calls if I am the chairman already.
okay.
We see if there's any discussion first.
Be nice, please, be nice.
Pardon?
I heard that laugh, yeah.
That wasn't
I
evil,
can't understand to say it, I'm sorry.
So no discussion. Okay. So Corinne,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Linda.
Yes,
Okay. So everyone in favor. And then now for vice chair.
I nominate Diana. She's done a great job.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'll do, you gonna finish the roll call for the position? Karen?
Yeah.
Okay,
Corinne,
yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Linda.
Yes,
Okay. And then secretary. So
I'll nominate Pam Fager for secretary.
I'll second it.
any discussion?
She's done a great job. Thank you.
Okay. Roll call. Corinne.
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Linda.
Yes,
Okay. So Corinne, I guess if you want to take it away then for.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from the April 27th meeting?
Yes.
yes,
Would someone like to make a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Someone second it? I'll second it, the motion. Is there any discussion before I do a roll call? Linda,
yes,
Pam,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Corinne, yes. It's unanimous then. Now Teresa has joined us.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late.
hi Tracy.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right.
right. Karen?
So we'll look at statistics first as usual. So April, we're comparing this past April to the April before, and that was when the first month that we were closed completely to the public. So there's a lot of comparisons that we can't really make because there was obviously no people coming in, no new cards really, no checkouts or programs, things like that. So mostly just, again, ebooks. So we see a 17% increase from this April to last April. Oops, let me just let John on. Ebook checkouts, usually before the pandemic, they were running about 400 to 450 a month. So in April 2020, we were already seeing a significant increase. They were in about 650. And then we're seeing that similar number this past April. So it's kind of been steady since the beginning of the pandemic with the ebook use, which is great. Any questions about any of that? Okay. Moving on to financial, nothing really significant to report. Everything's pretty much still on track. It's getting closer to the end of the fiscal year, so the next report will be more significant to kind of discuss where we are at the end of the fiscal year. But nothing really to a major report for April. Moving on to programming. So we had another great month in April. Total attendance was almost 250. We had 9 library programs, and then we had a collaboration. The Rec Commission did a World Civilization celebration event at Camp Kawani for grades 5 to 7, and we collaborated with them. We did handled the registrations and did some promotion for them. To work with them on that. We also partnered with Whitman Hanson Will, and there were 19 participants for that program. We did 2 story walk sessions, and with that we worked with Heidi's Hollow. We had over 60 children attend that, and we did a take and make ice cream craft that was themed with that. There was almost 70 of those were picked up. And then the foundation had the second cooking workshop with Chef Rob Scott, and there were 21 that were signed up officially for that. But on Facebook, it's hard to tell exactly how many people attended. It seems like there were more, I think, so, which is great too. Some May programs that we had to date, which we'll discuss at the next meeting, and then some upcoming programs. We have a couple. We have a Who Get Home, another glass mosaic. We had some wind chime and a Star Wars themed one, but we'll get into some of the numbers at the next meeting for those. Any questions about any of the programming?
Karen, I don't know if this is where I should bring up a comment that I made to you recently about wondering going forward as we begin to step out of the pandemic, what are we learning from some of these programs that were our only options to offer, virtual programs, the take and make, things like that, which seem to be so well received. That have you and the staff considered which type of programs you might continue with going forward that have really maybe brought in more attendance than when people struggle actually physically getting to the library for an event? Have you given thought to that as far as creating some sort of a hybrid environment forward, so we don't just drop things and go back to the way we were, but learn from some of the things that worked well?
Yeah, no, we're definitely considering as we transition to do a hybrid, some sort of hybrid from where we were before and where we're headed. And then even, we think a lot of things, not even just with programming, but a lot of things are going to stick from what we had, things that we were doing that, services, different services we had to provide that people like, and that those would continue. So we are starting to think about that. We'll discuss a little bit more as we, later on in the meeting, but that's definitely something we're considering.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'd like to comment if I may.
Yeah.
First of all, I'd like to applaud Karen and the staff for these amazing, wonderful programs. I think you really went above and beyond. Very creative and well received. And right on, spot on. I did have a question just out of curiosity, I guess. The 1,000 books before kindergarten kits. Do you have a time frame on those, and how are you going to notify people about them?
Yeah, so actually I've already ordered all the materials. They're going to be shipped. They're coming with the next week or two. So then after that, we just have to kind of assemble the kits and then start promotion. So throughout June, we're going to be doing that. And then, time for summer reading to start in the summer. And hopefully we can get a bunch of people signed up to start reading in the summer with those.
Okay, and do you have a list of 1,000 books before kindergarten participants you'll be sending something out to directly, or will it just be like an e-newsletter? Or
well, we definitely send general things out to get more people, but I can take a look back and see. I think we have the sign-up sheets, and we have some online submissions we had. So definitely we would, any of the emails we have from those, we would target to those people to see if they're interested.
Just interested. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have 2 more things I'd like to mention.
Yeah.
One, I think it's great about the partnering with the local businesses, whether it was Heidi's or I loved, Pam knows I really love the container gardening class with the 4-H. I think fascinating, the information that's out there. And being able to partner with a local business in the story walk, is there a way to collaborate with other local businesses that, as a way that we work together to help each other.
Yeah, well, Kate's really good at reaching out and collaborating like that. You know, her past experience was doing things like that. So she's kind of the, you know, the point person here for that kind of thing. And
Okay.
she's been really good at reaching out to different places and partnering. So we're definitely going to be continuing that and trying to find new places to partner with.
Okay.
I have a
Great.
friend who,
Heidi's.
oh, sorry, go ahead, Diane.
Okay, no, I just thought the Heidi's collaboration was terrific, especially with it being new owner and all. And to see how many participated was wonderful. So go ahead, Teresa.
I have a friend, he's in Pembroke. His name is Matt York, and he's a professional musician. He plays guitar and sings kind of new Americana, country, bluesy songs. And he, in COVID, started a program where he's reaching out to all the libraries and senior centers in the area. And he does a program where he sings a song, but then he talks about the history of the song as well. And he does it online as well as in person. So I was going to just say, who should I send that information to as a potential programming? Should it be you, Karen, or?
Is it for kids or adults?
Adults.
Okay, then you send it to me. You can send it to me. I'll
Okay.
take a look.
And
Great.
one other point I wanted to make was regarding the teen book boxes
Mhm.
that where they've been so popular. Are you actually having to turn teenagers away?
So we increased it to 20, the number. So now we're seeing good with that number so far. So
Okay, so you're not having to turn anyone away
Right.
at this point.
Right.
Okay, all right. And you would, if it came down to additional funding needed before we turn away a teenager looking to read, we would
Oh,
skip
no.
that, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I think thanks to our memorial fund in memory of Grattan, the middle school, that shouldn't be an issue. Is that right, Karen?
Yeah, we can definitely use those funds. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
I think the numbers that are showing up are fantastic, so
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Okay.
Thank you. Nice job.
Couple things for building maintenance to mention. At a previous meeting, we'd mentioned about the siding. So, you know, just a reminder, we are kind of waiting for them to hire the new building inspector to move forward with that. So as again, the earliest opportunity, I'm going to try to set up a meeting with that new hire and the town administrator to discuss that. And then I was informed that the installation of the new phone system is coming likely the first week of June. So next week, I believe. So they're actually coming tomorrow to do a couple things, and then hopefully the whole thing will be set up next week. There was some additional work for our Wi-Fi that was planned. As I say in my report, so the town's IT director, you might have heard, is leaving the position. He will not have time to complete that. So he was kind of the person who had originally described the project to us that he was hoping to do. And so he is going to try, they're hoping to hire his replacement before he leaves. So he's hoping to work with them and, you know, mention that project so that we can kind of have some continuity for transitioning to get that done. But that's still kind of up in the air. So, but the phone system is coming next week, likely. So that's good news.
Good news.
I'm sorry, Karen. Who did you say was leaving?
The IT director, the town's IT director.
Oh, I see. Okay, thanks. Is there a replacement for him in the works, or?
They said that they're hoping to hire somebody before he leaves, which is the end of June. So, so, you know, sometime in the next couple months, they'll hopefully be hiring somebody new for that.
Got it.
I'm
Thank you.
available. I really am.
All right, are there any other questions about anything discussed?
When you say siding, does that include some roof work?
I believe, yeah, it includes, you know, taking care of anything related to the siding, that if they notice any sort of roof issues at the time, they would take care of that as well, yeah.
Okay, I don't know, siding, I think of the side of the building. I don't know if that should be clarified or not. It's up to you and the others.
Well, there was some, the project was all mapped out, so there was something, I don't know all the technical terms of the roofing stuff, but one of the parts was, it was a roof part, I believe. And then there's that thing that goes around the side, that white strip, which, you know, that needs to be taken care of. But there's definitely, I mean, the leak that's in the community room, that's something that they're gonna look at. So I believe that is all included in there.
right? I just meant in terms of the notes, if you wanted to include roof and siding or any other wording, it's up to you
Oh, I see what you mean.
on the
Okay.
minutes.
I mean, technically the building line says like siding, repainting, I believe. But it's all, I think it's all connected. So, you know, they would be taking care of everything together. And any other questions? Okay. I think next is the update on services. So a couple things to discuss. So we'd spoken at the last meeting about air quality. So I did check, there was a test performed in 2010 and then one that we had initiated in 2017. I did look at both reports and neither of them indicated that there was any major problems with airflow or air quality. The 2017 report had some more specific numbers than the older one, and it indicated that everything was within acceptable levels. I did speak with the health agent about this. He said that the town did receive a COVID grant to put in an ionization system at Town Hall. Unfortunately, we were not included in that, but he did not feel that it was worthwhile to get another test done. So based on, you know, my speaking with him and recommendations from the reports, what they said that we should be doing is setting our HVAC system fan to on when the building is occupied, changing filters, opening windows, which I know we don't have fully operable windows, but we have been doing that as much as we can. We've been opening our back door when we can. And we have been, you know, the HVAC fan is set to on. We have been changing filters. So based on all that, right now, I'm not sure that we need to take any action. I don't really know what else we can really do. You know, so that's kind of where things stand with that. Does anybody have any questions or comments about that?
I do, Karen. How often to change the filters?
I believe it's like every 3 months. I think we do.
Okay. Is it something we might do a little more often?
Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to do it like 2 now, actually.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I
okay.
think, yeah, before we were
That's
doing
good.
3, now we're trying to start to do 2. So,
Right.
just to kind of, you know,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, the HVAC system, can you control the airflow through that?
So, yeah, so there's a
Just simply
fan
on
setting.
or off?
There's a fan setting. So what they mean by that is that so when even if the heat or the air conditioning isn't actually on, there's a fan that's still running that's like blowing the air back and forth. So that is always set to on, which that's what they said when we're, you know, the building's occupied. It's on a timer. So so that's what's working and still getting airflow moving.
Oh, okay, but you can't adjust how much
We can't adjust how
volume
much,
of
no.
the air.
No, it's all automatic.
Just on or off,
Yeah.
okay. And then in terms of air quality, at one point, the library was being sprayed.
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna actually talk about that in a little bit.
Oh, okay,
So,
sorry.
yeah,
Okay.
that's okay. Yeah, so the other thing to discuss is obviously, I'm sure you've heard that starting May 29th, the mask mandate in Massachusetts and most of the other guidelines are gonna be rescinded. So I just want to kind of go over the changes that I'm planning on making. I spoke with the health agent on this, and we have a sales directors meeting this Friday, the day before, where, you know, all the sales directors to kind of talk and see what other libraries were thinking on these different points. So similar to what Town Hall is doing, we were going to be posting that unvaccinated individuals should wear a face mask, as is still recommended. And that vaccinated individuals are encouraged to wear a face mask when they visit the library. We would not be requiring them. We would open our full hours again. Instead of closing the first and last half hour, we'd open our normal hours. We would open seating and computers like normal. I'm just going to talk to the directors meeting about this and see what other libraries are doing. But for the most part, from what I've seen, different posts, they're seating up. We would still continue curbside like we've been doing. People really like that service. I think that can, you know, be an ongoing thing even well into the future. The state, a couple weeks ago, the state eliminated the need to quarantine items. So we have no longer been doing that. And we would start accepting returns inside like we normally would. We would keep up the plexiglass and the hand sanitizer around the building. Starting July 1st, we would go back to our normal copying and printing charges. So we'd been doing like 5 pages free, but starting July 1st, go back to our regular charges for those. Fine free, right now I'd like to keep fine free. I just saw recently that Hingham is actually eliminating fines completely. There's a lot of libraries starting to do that. So what I think I'm going to do is over the next month, kind of do the math for us and see what the impact would be. And then at the June meeting, report back and see if that's something that we want to consider. But for now, we would keep the fine free in place. Programming, as you mentioned, Diana, I'm sure this is going to be a big topic at the sales directors meeting. So I'm going to kind of see, although, we definitely, I think, plan on keeping like the take and makes. People really love those. But just kind of discuss at the sales meeting to see what other libraries are planning. Yeah, I think at least for the summer, we're thinking of still doing, as I said, some outdoor programs, and then like the take and make kind of things, and still not do any in-person inside. And then maybe hopefully in the fall that could be something that we start back with. And then the fogging, as I mentioned. So right now we're still being fogged twice a week. The thought is I had talked to a couple of people, the thought is that maybe once this emergency ends, which is June 15th, the governor said the state of emergency was going to end then, that it's possible, because right now the fogging is being paid for with COVID funds. So it's possible that that would be the time when they would end. So we do have the option. I spoke with the man who does the fogging, and he said he's in a couple places. He does several places on the South Shore. Some of them are going to be continuing because it does kill other things besides COVID. So they're going to be continuing. So it would be up to us. He said he'd be willing to continue, if we wanted to. So I figured we could probably at least continue. We probably would have funds to continue to July 1st. And then after that, I'm not really sure, probably not, we might not, but I can definitely take a look, but we'll kind of maybe wait and see till that COVID money runs out on that and see where we're at then. So hopefully at the next meeting, I can report back on that. So those are kind of the things I was thinking of what we would be doing come this Saturday. So I don't know if you had any questions, Colleen.
I know what the ruling is, we all know what the ruling is for the library, but I would like the masks to continue till we meet in September. A lot of people say they're vaccinated and they're not. Really, only 50% of the population is vaccinated. And I guess I would like to, I understand the spraying may have to stop, and it's probably more due to funds than anything else. And there are people who are still very considerate and are, wearing masks, but like next week is the selectmen's meeting. You're required to wear a mask in the town hall. We're a town building too. So I guess I'm thinking more on the lines of that.
So the town hall is doing the same thing, that they're not requiring masks. They're saying if you're not vaccinated, then you should be wearing one. But if you're vaccinated, then you don't have to, but they still are recommending it. And most of the libraries things I've seen post in other libraries, that's what they're doing. Because as a public building, again, I'm not even really sure, given what those guidelines are, that we can even require, like absolutely force people to if they're vaccinated. So that's why we would still strongly encourage them to wear one, but I don't think we can require it for a vaccinated individual.
No, and I don't think we want to put you into a situation of trying to police something that is not really policeable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, there is the issue that children are required to wear masks in school still.
Yeah,
So,
because they're not vaccinated, so
Right.
they would still be, yeah.
but I don't know.
They
Older
would be
children
required to if they're not vaccinated.
Yeah. So I do know, like the Brigham Health Group and hospitals are requiring all their staff, patients, and visitors to continue to wear masks. So as Corinne says, I don't think it's unfounded. I don't know.
Well, I know medical places are a separate. I think they're still required to under the
Right.
governor.
Right.
guidelines. They're considered like a different type of.
Yeah.
Right, and a lot of them are probably used to wearing them anywhere for the position they're in. But the reason why I had brought it up is my book club met at my house yesterday outside, and I don't know why they always have to bring up the library, but they do. So, and they were saying, well, I hope it continues. And I said, each month is a different month, and we're moving forward, but we're also, making good, sound decisions. I really don't, when I have book club, I really don't want to be talking about what we're doing as the library as far as policies and things like that. We discuss it at meetings, but I feel a little uncomfortable.
I don't personally see why we should differ from town hall. I think that you'll find a lot of people will continue to wear masks
Mhm.
in public places where they're concerned. But
Yeah, and staff would be given, like, if staff will be able to do if they want to wear. I mean, I know I'm wearing mine until like mid-June at least. So, it'll be up to each individual staff if they want to wear one or not.
I would agree with Diana that we should do what the town is recommending and obviously leaving it very open for people who want to wear masks. They're welcome to do so. But I don't think we want to differentiate from the town policy. There's too many people who are challenging both ways. I think we want to stick with the town's decision.
Well, we're also trying to make it known that the library isn't really a separate entity. It is a town building. And so, we kind of go with what the town says because the town owns it. And,
But
like, it's not a
the
private.
laws are changing so quickly
Yeah.
that unless we want to have an attorney look over our policy on a weekly basis, I think it makes a lot more sense and ease of administration if Karen can utilize the town as, I mean, obviously, Karen, if you think that there's something, entirely wrong with what the town's doing and your staff is upset about it, then, you should let us know. But otherwise.
Yeah, no, I think everybody's comfortable with that. So.
Okay, I just brought it up because at the selectmen's meeting next week, I'll be going to the selectmen's meeting and you're required to wear a mask, and that's at the town hall. So that's why.
Yeah, well, they're not starting until June 1st, obviously, because they're not open Saturday, and then there's a
Right.
holiday. So, okay. Then just one other thing too about with our meetings. So I haven't gotten a chance to to look into the hybrid thing that we had talked about. So I'm hoping that probably June we would kind of keep things the way they are now, but I will by then have looked into it. So and see what the feasibility of all that is.
So I heard that the governor is coming out with a notice, I think it was June 15th, that meetings after that date that were subject to open meeting law would have to be back in person. So if this one next week, when I see that, Karen, I'll send it to you.
Okay, yeah, if you could. Yeah, I didn't see that yet. So
I was talking to Tom Hickey, who was also talking about it because he was looking into it for the various commissions that he's into. So
okay, yeah, so that'd be great if you could send me that.
Yep.
Okay. So any other questions about that? Okay. Can move on to unfinished business. So just a brief discussion about some things related to the override. So as you all know, I'm sure it passed. So our original budget that we had requested for FY22 will be the one that's in place on July 1st. So we won't have to thankfully make any cuts to personnel or hours. We will meet our municipal appropriation requirement for state aid, which is great. Just one other thing I want to bring up. So apparently the police and fire had some support signs in the front of their buildings for the override. And we did have a patron inquire if we would be doing something similar. Obviously, it's no longer relevant for this issue, but I thought we could just kind of discuss what your thoughts are for any issues that may arise in the future. Is that something we want to consider doing? And this kind of came through the patron through Corrine. So I don't know if Corrine, did anybody mention what the sign said, or if
They were talking about police and fire for the, basically for the override. I thought it was a good idea. However, I guess I was thinking more like just in general, thank you for your support.
Mm.
You know, if we were able to have them way prior, we could put that sign out, and it's not saying vote yes, vote no. It's not pushing ourselves on people, but it's just saying we appreciate the support from the community. Okay.
Well, I know I'm sorry, Corinne, I know they have the signs, and I know you, for the food pantry, and I realize that you get those if you make a donation, which is obviously what we're gonna do, but I know it's a sign that says like, I support the food pantry. So
Right.
maybe something along the lines of that, or something.
Yeah, we
but-
could, well, I was just first thinking of, thank you for supporting the library. I mean, the
Right.
Friends had a fundraiser for the wooden plaque for $25. Yes, the food pantry had a fundraiser. There was another group that had a fundraiser. Can't remember which one. I didn't know if we wanted to do that or not, but I just thought, just in general, for neutral signs for anything that comes up,
Yeah.
say over the next
Yeah.
2 years.
I don't
I
know if
would
Teresa knows if that's,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that those signs for the police and the fire were paid for by the unions and not the departments
Okay.
themselves.
okay.
And so if we were gonna do something like that, I think the foundation should buy those signs and support the library. And I would recommend not. This is the trustees meeting, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure. I think not.
Someone reached out to me and I brought it to Karen. That's why it's on the meeting.
Yeah, I would say that's a great something for the foundation as a 501c3. Again, a 501c3 is not allowed to ask people to vote one way or another. A union can, but a nonprofit is not allowed to participate in an election like that. But certainly support your library can certainly be used, or thanks for your support of the library.
Okay.
I would generally prefer to see thank yous and signs like that. Maybe letters to the Express, done without having to purchase something. I think we have social media and other options, but that's just off the top of my head.
Yeah, because I mean, we definitely wouldn't want people to misconstrue anything if we put something out there. So, it might be better to just do it that way. Like you said, like a letter to the Express or something like that. Okay, so at least, just kind of thought we'd just discuss it to see what the board's opinion was.
I came across something on one library site where they had a sign, I don't know, it was some social media, I think, for a public library, libraries, essential services, and it listed some of the essential services that libraries provided. And I thought that was interesting, where a lot of people say that the libraries aren't essential, but we do provide a lot of important services to people.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Teresa's suggestion of something like that being handled by the foundation, definitely not by trustees,
Mm-hmm.
as informational.
The
Yeah,
other guidance that people usually use is, if you're going to put, like Linda just suggested, those essential services, you do that now, not at the time of an election or a referendum, right?
Mhm.
You just remind people, you continually educate. So when it's on the website, it's there as an educational matter and not necessarily a campaign plea, right? So you can educate the public about what essential services you're always, providing, and then people can use that when they reference it for support for the library, if you put that on your website. But if you only put it up when there's a vote being taken,
Mhm.
then it looks very partisan about which way,
Agreed.
Good point.
Yeah, okay. So maybe at some point at the foundation meeting, if, we wanted to discuss it, then that could be something brought up then.
Sure.
And I guess
so
the
moving
other
on to-
question is, just not to beat this to death, but as a trustee, I did post on Facebook after our meeting, that I'm a trustee, and here's the amount that the library would lose, and here are some of the, I cribbed from Karen, your email, and I did put that out as a trustee, and I tried really hard to do it as an educational, not, and I said, please support our library or something. And I know Diana did that. I think Corinne might have done that. I think that's okay, but I guess we should also just make sure that we're all in agreement in doing that as well.
Mhm.
I did that. I don't recall. I'd have to go
I
back and
think
look.
it was Sharon Teresa's.
Oh, Sharon Teresa's, okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I said I was a trustee, and so I did it as a trustee. If anybody objects to that, then I can always say that I, do it as a parent or a foundation member. But
Okay. Any other questions, comments about that?
I think it's fine to say you're a trustee, and as long as you're speaking, which you were as an individual too. There's no problem, and providing information, I think that's appropriate.
okay.
All right, moving on to landscaping. So the new tree is in, Ed Sheehan has put that tree in, and they are not charging us at all actually for cost or of the tree or labor, which is really nice of them.
Oh.
There are a couple other trees that seem like they might be struggling. So Ed Sheehan is coming, he's looking after them, he put some fertilizer on, pruning, and then our custodian is watering them. At the last meeting, oh, yes, Queen, go ahead.
I checked on the trees again today. My weekly, whenever I go to the library, I go slowly from, get out of my car and walk, and they seem to be rebounding.
Yeah, they might just
I
be,
think
late
they're
bloom
gonna be
ones.
fine. Yeah, so
Okay,
I
good.
think the watering that, all of a sudden Brian has been doing has really helped out a lot. So if you could say thank you for us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
At the last meeting, you had approved up to 3,000 for additional landscaping. And I was looking around at what needs to be done. And in addition to what we typically get done, try to get done every year, we really should get some new pea stone put in. So that's the behind those trees, in between them and the windows. It's getting a little thin, and you can, in some places, there's like a black liner, which I assume is for drainage, is showing. And I was talking to Ed Sheehan about it, and he said that would help too with some weeds, tramping down weeds in that area to kind of beef it up there. So he gave me a quote for all that work, and it actually came to $3,250. So I would like to request that you increase the amount from 3,000 up to $3,250 so we can get that work done.
I make a motion to increase the landscaping budget from $3,000 to $3,250.
Second,
Roll call.
any discussion?
Pam? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Any discussion?
What's the current limit? I'm pretty sure it's well under this for having to go out to bid, Karen.
I think it might even be like 5 or 10,000. I'm not sure exactly.
I was thinking maybe 5.
Yeah.
I think you've done very good by us. Any more discussion? Okay, Pam,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes,
John? John?
Yes,
Green, yes, all in favor. Thank you.
Great. All right, next is the update on the video pipe inspection and new toilet. So as you might recall, we had issues with our staff toilet. The company that takes care of our septic came out and did an inspection. They noted 2 things. So they said that the staff toilet was what they call back flushing. So it's when you flush the toilet, water's supposed to come out and go right down toward the septic, but it's actually going left first and then going down. And then they said that causes sludge to build up, and they cleaned it all out. They also said there was a bad Y pipe, which I don't really know much about plumbing, but a bad Y pipe near the public restrooms. So, I'm waiting for a quote from them to get the work done that they suggested, but they claim it would require digging up the floor and putting new pipes in, which I'm assuming is going to be extremely expensive. And the problem is we've actually started having some problems with the toilet again. So even though it was just cleaned out, it was like 3 weeks ago. So obviously there's something going on. So I actually am going to try to, I'm sorry, what?
You're freezing up a little bit, at least for me.
Oh, did somebody?
For everybody, I think.
Oh, it says my connection's unstable.
Yeah, you're lagging quite a bit.
Is that better?
Right now, it's going okay.
Okay. So yeah, as I said, we've had some issues again with the toilet. So I'm going to call in another company that we've used for plumbing issues and sort of get like a second opinion. My thought, I did some research of my own online a little bit, and I'm going to have them check the vent pipes. I don't think those have ever been checked. So have them check those and then maybe have them do another video, a quick video inspection of that area as well to see if they see the same problems that the other company identified. And then also have them put in the new toilet because we haven't had that done yet. I think what you voted last time, up to 2,500. I think it might just be a good idea just to be on the safe side if you could increase that to 3,000, just so that we can, make sure that we can get this taken care of. So I would like to request you increase the 2,500 up to 3,000 so we can have somebody else come in to take a look.
So moved.
Motion. Oh, I second it. Okay, roll call. Pam,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Maureen, yes, all in favor. Thank you.
All right, moving on to new business. You might have heard that, the governor recently declared June 19th a state holiday, starting this year. This year it falls on a Saturday. Obviously typically we're closed on state and federal holidays. And obviously it's up to the board whether you want to vote for us to close or not. However, the town hasn't really caught up yet with this. So none of the employee contracts list this as a paid holiday. So if you did vote to close, staff would either not be paid or would have to take a vacation day this year. My thought is that my recommendation is that we actually stay open this year, and that, hopefully by next year, things will have caught up and it'll be in the contracts as a holiday, and we won't have to, everything will be taken care of. But obviously it's up to the board if you do want to decide to close. Just keeping in mind that would be the fact that the staff who work that day would have to either take a vacation day or not get paid. So just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
So Carrie, when you say that the town is not caught up with this, if the governor has made it a state holiday, is the town in a process of
I know
revising?
I checked and I asked about it, and they said, like, because it's not in the contracts as a paid holiday, the staff could not get paid. So usually I'm assuming that by next year it'll have been taken care of, but this year,
A law that's been signed into.
Well, it's not on this year's contracts, but more than likely, probably 99.9% it will be on next year.
it'll be addressed before then, I
Right.
assume, yes.
Did you speak with Lisa at all about this?
Yes, that's what, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, and that's what I was told, so.
all right, so,
I mean, I think too, because town hall isn't open,
right, I know.
that doesn't
Probably
affect
the
them
only
this year.
department really-
For us, obviously Saturday is open normally.
Well, if we close for a holiday, I mean, it is a ruling from the governor. At the same time, what kind of feedback will you get from your employees if they have to take a vacation day?
Are you
Yeah, and-
allowed to let them go early without disrupting the contract?
No, I mean, it would have to either be that they just wouldn't get paid or they'd have to take a vacation day.
So if you paid them for Saturday, if this is a normal Saturday employee
Mm-hmm.
and you pay them, do they get another day off during the week then?
No, so they would just be paid like normal.
So
that
they
day.
would get an extra holiday, in other words, this year compared to the other employees.
Yes, so
If they
yeah.
close.
Well, so actually, to see, that's the thing, usually in the, in the union contract, for example, if a holiday falls on a day that you don't normally work, you get to take another day. So,
But
but
you
again,
normally work
that's
on
not,
Saturdays, right?
I'm sorry?
You normally work on Saturdays, so wouldn't it be Saturday that you would have off?
Yes, but so
Right, but-
any staff that doesn't work Saturday would get another day, would get to take another day. But
In
that.
other words,
that's not in
everybody
the
would be,
contract, so.
you'd have to pay everybody unless they took a vacation day. if they were working on Saturday.
So I know it kind of creates a strange situation, but so that's why I was recommending that we kind of just stay open this year and, you know, I mean, the next year it falls on a Sunday, so maybe it's not an issue, but that it would probably be addressed by next year.
Yeah,
Can I get clarification, my pea brain? Okay, so how many staff are scheduled on a Saturday?
So it would be 3 staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you closed, the staff that are not scheduled to work, it would be no impact to them.
Well, yeah, well, that, I guess that I wasn't told that. I mean, typically they would get an extra day, but again, that's not listed in the contract. So
Okay,
I would assume that there would be no impact to them.
so the Saturday, 3 Saturday people would either have to take a vacation day
or be on-
or we
Or
pay
just
it.
not get paid, yeah.
but then the people that weren't scheduled to work would get a free day?
Well, see, that's what I'm not even sure about that, because typically they would if it's listed in the contract as a holiday, but and then also depends on how many hours they work, if it gets pretty complicated. So but yeah, I don't know for them. I didn't even ask about that, but I could probably check in with her again and see what
I mean, so the
but I mean,
people
well, she
scheduled
said,
to work
what I was
Saturday-
told was that they would just have to take a vacation day, essentially. That's what I was told. Even though it's a state holiday.
We don't have any.
This is just
precedent.
kind of, if you did stay open, like I said, this is just kind of a strange idea, and that's fine if it's shot down or anything, but you know how sometimes the staff will have books out for certain holidays? Maybe it's a chance to make people aware of the holiday. You know what I'm saying? What
Mhm.
it represents and stuff, since we're open anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there.
And no, I agree.
Yeah, just
Educational
look at,
too.
if it would be open, yeah. I just thought maybe that would kind of help a little bit, so
No,
we're
I think
acknowledging
that's
it.
a great idea, yeah.
Yeah, I think even if we were closed, either way, I mean, we're closed on Christmas, but we start advertising
Right.
Christmas
Yeah.
December 1st in the library, like any other holiday.
Absolutely. Right,
I think
right.
that's a great idea, Pam. And I think a lot of businesses are doing that. Like they're giving employees half day and the first half is education about the day, or, you know, trying to provide some education. So having a display about Juneteenth,
Right.
you know, Juneteenth would be a great idea, and
Yeah.
at least have some programming or something.
Right, kind of, you know, inform people and educate them, and then kind of set a precedent for next year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I like that idea. That's a great idea. We could definitely do that. So is it kind of consensus that this year we just stay open and kind of figure out, hopefully that's addressed in the future, which I'm sure it would be.
It sounds
I
like you haven't,
would.
yeah,
You want to vote on that, Karen?
Are any of the employees scheduled to work on Saturday, non-union?
Yes, there's some union and some non-union.
has this been discussed at all with the staff?
No, actually, I haven't brought it up to them.
Is that, well, the town isn't addressing it because it only affects our department.
Well, I don't know what, I mean, there are other, you know, like police and fire work on the, you know, holidays too, but, and set weekends, but, and it's not in their contract, I don't believe so. There's usually a lag time, often with things like this, it was just done and then they didn't have, you know, it hasn't been addressed yet, so.
The new contract July 1st?
I'm not sure, actually, I'm not sure where they're at with that. I think things got delayed, so.
No, I mean.
You know how many years the contract is either. maybe.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Um, I would say we voted on the calendar already and to go along with that. And if anything comes of it and the employees should get extra time and a half because it was a holiday, we'll deal with whatever falls in place.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, I agree. I think if, someone comes up to you and says, and we'll say, well, it isn't in your contract for next year, but it will be addressed. And it's not in the contract in the calendar for this year,
Mm-hmm.
but we know it will be addressed for next year.
Yeah.
Because when was it signed into law?
I think it was late last year, maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
I believe so.
starting this year, yeah.
And they had chosen the marathon date. No, excuse me, that's something else. Sorry. Too many things going on.
Okay.
Many holidays for the retiree, there.
Going on a mini vacation starting tomorrow.
Okay, it says that Governor Baker signed a bill recognizing Juneteenth on July 24th, 2020 as an annual
Oh.
state holiday in Massachusetts.
Okay. So yeah, and then for this starting for this year, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know a lot about unions, but the employees, are they all on different contracts? Depending from when they started, or it's the same contract for everyone and,
There's one union contract for, library and town hall employees are all on the same contract.
right,
But
okay.
within that, it depends on, there's certain things, or like if you're full-time versus part-time, or if you're this many hours per week versus this many hours per week. And, things like that. There's different, there's some people are grandfathered in for some things and not others, so.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was getting at. So,
Yeah, so it
okay,
ends up kind of being like an individual contract almost for each person, depending on,
right,
what
Okay.
the situation is.
okay.
Any
Okay.
idea what, if other libraries are facing a similar situation?
I don't know, actually, maybe I'll bring that up at the director's
Yeah,
meeting.
Friday meeting.
Yeah, Friday meeting, just to see too. That's a good point. I'll make a note to do that. Okay. So anything else before we move on? Okay. So some electrical work. So there is some electrical work that needs to be done. Our flag light needs to be replaced. There's a couple of outlets and outlet covers that need repair or replacement. Our timer for our parking lot lights isn't working right. I wanted to have somebody check our emergency lights battery. And then I had an electrician come in the other day, and I also inquired about, take a look at all that. And I inquired about getting some outdoor motion lights. Because, we talked before about, some toward the back of the building, just to kind of get some more illumination back there. Unfortunately, I was hoping to get a quote from him before the meeting. I have not gotten that yet. So I don't have an actual number to kind of give you, but I was hoping that either you could maybe, we could kind of take a wild guess and say like vote up to 3,000, say, or 4,000 or whatever, or say maybe something like, to complete the work that necessary electrical work, that we use remaining FY21 budget funds as they are, as allowed, to get that work completed. I don't know how you wanted to kind of handle this, but or think, how things like this have been done in the past. So I don't know if anybody had any, if you're comfortable with like 3,000 or 3,500, because we do have some of the budget funds from, as I said, freed up a little bit since we don't have as much materials because we had COVID funds for material spending.
Around what do we have left?
Well, it's going to depend on, I don't have an exact number because I'm not sure based on like how many books, like 'cause we have a lot of automatic authors that come in, but I'm pretty sure we could probably cover like 3,000, I would say, or possibly more.
Okay.
But some of this too is kind of safety issues, so I don't know if that.
No, no, I'm sure all of us understand where you're coming from. And you're only getting the one estimate? Are you going to call someone else?
No, I
or-
was gonna call somebody else too, but
Okay.
yeah, I haven't
Is
gotten,
this first person someone we've used for the library before?
not before, no,
Okay.
yeah, this is a different person.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, I'll make a motion to spend up to $3,500 on the necessary electrical work for the library and, for the safety of the patrons and the building.
I'll second.
And do you want to say from remaining
Oh,
budget
yes, from
and
remaining,
if needed, additional funds from state aid, give the source?
what Linda said. I agree.
Yep, that would work.
I'll second it. And I do like the idea, I think you said you were going to, Karen, of getting more than one quote where
Yeah.
it's someone you haven't used before and it is a big amount.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll do a roll call. Pam,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes,
Linda Wall,
Yes,
Teresa,
Yes.
John,
Yes,
Maureen, yes. All in favor. Thank you.
okay, great.
Go down my list on the side and some people are jumping back and forth. The order.
Can I ask a
Um,
question
Yeah,
real
sure.
quick? The electrical work made me remember it. Was there any action on the vandalism that happened to the security camera? People have
So we
asked me.
had some stuff replaced that was vandalized. The some stuff that I'm hoping to get done when the siding is replaced. That some of the painting that was done up there near the roof.
But were the individuals ever
I have not
apprehended
heard
or
anything to that effect.
really?
So
pardon, what did you say, Karen? You weren't given that information? Oh, you
I
don't-
said I haven't heard anything to.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Do you think the police would have told you if they did find anybody?
I would assume so, but I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, it's a crime. It happened twice.
And it was on video. I mean, I think people would know who those people are. I wonder if we should call the police and ask them how the investigation's going.
Yeah, I can definitely do that and check in with them.
What was the total amount of damage?
I don't have an exact number because I didn't, so, I mean, some of it where, like I said, it's going to be done probably with the siding. So I didn't even have it checked with the paint to repaint that. I figured it could kind of all be incorporated with the siding because that piece needs to be taken off anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely like over like $2,000 though, I would say. So,
Okay.
Okay, so it went up from the $700 we first talked about? Oh, it was $700 the first time.
that was the first.
Okay, all right. Okay.
There is one other point I want to bring up with the electrical work. So I did, when I spoke to this electrician about getting lighting outside, and we went around to the front, and as you know, that area kind of where the handicap rail is and all that is very, it's not very illuminated very well. And rather than put in some sort of motion light out there, we do have already some lighting. He mentioned that the electric company actually has a program where you could rent a floodlight, and they put it on a nearby utility pole. And there is a pole kind of right, on our side of the street, right, kind of right opposite that area. And he said, they put it up and there is a small annual fee. I looked on their website, the National Grid's website, it's like $100 to $200 a year, plus the cost of electricity. So I'm just going to give them a call and kind of see, get some more information about that program. My only concern would be, would it kind of blind people as they came out of the library? But he said it would do a good job of illuminating that area. So I'm just going to call them and see, kind of find some more information about the program and hopefully report back at the June meeting about that.
Now you might want to get from where the pole is, where you get up by the handicap, kind of measure roughly what that footage is to see if it works along what they say the coverage is.
Yeah.
I think they could have set the light so it wouldn't be hitting someone in the face as they drove out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was going to talk to them about all that, what they recommend. So.
Right. Thank you.
And at this point, they'd probably use LEDs, is that right?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, any other questions about any of that? Okay, oh, I'm sorry, I think I skipped something. The philanthropy groups, do we want
Yeah,
to jump back to
Ask
that?
what that was.
Yeah, that was Corinne. Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I was talking to having a conversation with some financial people, and they asked me how things were going at the library, and I told them we were doing the open house again this year. It's the person who's going to give us the donation. So he said, "Do you ever think about philanthropy groups? You know, reaching out to them, because I explained whatever it comes to. For the most part, the MBLC covers 50%, and then you're going to the town asking for funds minus what you say, have on hand to cover costs." And she said lots of times there's groups that, different groups cover different things, and you might come across someone that may give you a hefty donation, may cover it. So I thought I would just bring it up. I know the foundation is the fundraising group, but I would be happy to do some research and see what's out there, and what you have to do.
Would it be like applying for grants? Is that what it is?
Similar.
Yeah.
They said they have somebody who, because I think he brought it up because of investors they have. And I would assume there's people that they have that may be interested, or, ways to reach. So he said he had somebody that I could talk with there that works on stuff like that. So I would think it'd be similar to apply for a grant, or you start with a letter. I know the medication for my husband, a philanthropy group is paying for that, and the doctor's office handles that. So I don't know how they do that. But I'm sure it starts with a letter and then you go from there. But I thought I would, if it's okay with everyone, I would just do a little research and see what I can find out.
Sure.
Any comments or anything?
Okay.
I get notices for the foundation from Nellie Mae Education Foundation, but a lot of their grants and offerings for money target populations that aren't Hansons,
Yeah.
whether they're low income or whatever.
Okay. Well, I'll see, it might take a while, but I'll see what I can find out and let you know.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. So moving on to drafts of policies. So there were a couple of, some of you sent me some suggestions. So I think maybe if you're okay with this, what I'll do is I'll kind of makes a few more revisions and then send you those. And then obviously, hopefully at the next meeting you can vote on it, but I'll try to do that as quickly as possible, get those out so you can kind of have a little bit more time to look at them for the next meeting. And hopefully by then we'll have a final draft that we can, that can be approved. There were just a couple things I wanted to bring up though, with the, let's see, I think it was the purchasing policy. So, right, what we'd done before, which I put in here, was 500 maximum. I don't know if you wanted to, if you're comfortable with that, or if you wanted to give any consideration to increasing that. For the town, we have to do purchase orders for anything over 1,000. But, either way, if you want to keep it 500 or think about increasing it, I just wanted to kind of bring that up to see what your thoughts were.
I don't have it's probably been 500 for some time and not been revised. I don't have an issue with going up to 1,000, especially if that's what your purchasing power is with the town.
I agree. And costs have gone up, significantly in the past few years. So time to catch up with the times.
I also agree. However, it does seem like everything's more like 3,000 and up. But let's change the policy to 1,000 is my recommendation.
Okay. And then I don't know if, so some of these things probably that I listed specifically to exclude I don't know if you wanted to, I know Linda, you had mentioned, do we need to include budgeted salaries? I mean, the way that works, so I mean, obviously, no one particular staff necessarily gets, I mean, when I do like a payroll, it is more than 1,000, but, broken up to each individual staff. So I don't know, I mean, I could add that in if you feel that we need to, but.
It just seemed if utility costs are in it, maybe that should be, I don't know.
I'm sorry, well, I didn't catch that.
Well, it just seemed like going through the monthly expenses and all, if routine utility costs is in the provision for exclusion, maybe the staff salaries should be also.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, so I could put in like some sort of salary, something about salaries. I can put that in. That's
Budgeted
fine.
salaries
I'm
excluded.
sorry.
Budgeted salaries.
Yeah. Okay. Budget salaries. Okay. So I'll make that revision and again, send it out. There was one other thing on the Safe Child policy. So that, I wanted to kind of talk about the age breakdown that I have. I don't really have much experience with children, and I did look at different libraries' policies, and they were kind of all over the place with the breakdown of the different ages versus, unattended versus can be there with immediate, it doesn't have to be the immediate presence of the child, and then can use the library by themselves. So was everybody comfortable with breaking it down by 7 and under, and then 8 to 12, and then 13 and older, or did you have a different breakdown that you thought maybe was better?
I think what you have seems reasonable.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, at 8, they're, what are they? First, second grade, so they're definitely much more independent at that point, even in school. So I agree with the ages. I don't have an issue with that.
Okay. So like I said, I'll kind of make the revisions based on what some suggestions I got and get that out to you well before the next meeting, so you can take another look and then hopefully we can vote on it the June meeting.
Now, one of the things that I had asked you after reading through it was, is it possible to have town council review? This policy to me is a little more critical than, say, a purchasing policy or a borrowing from other libraries that are unaccredited. And given past stories from the news of things that have happened with children in libraries, do we want somebody from town council to be able to review this in case we are missing some important points, or we're not being stern enough with the messaging to parents?
Yeah,
I just think this policy really needs to be as polished as possible from a legal standpoint.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so I think that one.
Yeah, because the message really needs to be out there about, as far as being able to call the police, things like that, when, because you've had to close on a moment's notice with a power outage. And if you've got a parent that's, dropped off their underage child and run down to Shaw's and you're trying to close the library, then, the policy needs to be clear.
Yeah.
And strong.
In addition to what Diane's saying, will this policy have to be posted?
Oh, yes, they'll all be posted to our website. Yep, any of the ones we've revised are on our website.
I guess what I mean is when you walk in the door, it's
Oh,
going
you have to post it.
to specifically the Safe Child policy.
I can check and see. I think, like Diana said, we should definitely send that one to the town council and then.
Right. So I agree with that because we don't want to be called on something.
Right,
that we-
and
Yeah.
I'll check and see if it's something that they recommend us posting.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, to find out if, especially after it is approved, is it something that they recommend for any period of time that it's posted in the children's room, in the teen room, things like that? Around the library to bring attention to it,
Right,
so that if you find yourself in a situation where now you've reached that point of having to call the police for assistance, that there isn't somebody coming hard down on you that, oh, I didn't know, and I didn't even know you put policies on your website, so I didn't go and look.
right.
Do we need to educate that this policy is out there once it's approved? I guess is
Right,
my
yeah.
question.
I would like to see, you ask Karen when legal counsel, when you discuss it with them, I don't think it'd be a problem after it's approved, about handing out a copy of the Safe Child Policy when children sign up for library cards.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if there's another little packet we could give them besides just the Safe Policy. I
Mhm.
think some libraries do that, which is nice.
Yeah, no, I think that we could definitely do that. That's a
Okay,
good idea
idea.
too. So we're gonna make sure people know about it, so,
Right.
okay,
Thank you.
all right.
But nice work on these drafts.
Thank you.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see, next is, I'll recap a meeting. So I just have one thing to say before Corinne says anything. So the last meeting we talked about the McQuan Fields. So I did confirm that they have been given into the custody of Parks and Fields Commission. So I did speak with a member of the commission and they told me that they are in the process of writing a community preservation grant for a sports complex on the land between the school and the library.
Can I ask which member told you that?
Rob O'Brien.
Okay, because Pepper went to a meeting this last week and there was some confusion about who and the selectmen gave them permission.
Okay.
So
I-
I'll follow up and I'll send you an email about, he was gonna dig into that to figure out what meeting that was decided with the selectmen.
Mhm.
I'm a little confused.
So-
Teresa, you and I were on a meeting last week. It was. This
Not
wasn't,
recognition, Parks and Fields, sorry.
okay, they're two different.
Sorry, I always mix those two up, yeah.
Okay, so it was Parks and Fields. And so the space between McQuan and I'm looking over to my wall like I'm sitting in the library. McQuan and our parking lot in the back,
That's the area, and the Parks and Fields group said that they had domain over that they had been given domain. And so Pepper, as a member of one of the sports groups, and he had been pulled together an application to the CPC. So Tom Hickey and Pepper both went to the last Parks and Fields meeting to decide, to figure out what the next step was with that CPC application, because they had also heard that they had been given authority to move forward. At the meeting, it was not clear how that authority was actually given, and there was going to be some follow-up about that. So I just wanted Karen to know that that was still a little bit outstanding, but I would.
You sent a letter explaining that,
we wanted a part of it, right?
want a part of
Yeah.
this.
well, we
Yeah.
also, Karen and I
Totally
attended.
disregarded? Is that what happened? It's been-
So there was a discussion at the Parks and Fields about putting in fields in that area. I think there was some debate about what kinds of fields. I'm not sure that the library came up. So I think once we establish that the Parks and Fields Committee really does have authority to move forward with an RFP, then we should reach out to the Parks and Rec Committee to make sure that, I'm sure this is what Karen was about to say, that
Well,
we
I
have
was gonna say, I did mention to him that, the library's interest, and, I said that the selectmen, so Kenny Mitchell, I guess, is the officio member of, on that commission. And I said, the selectmen are aware of it. I mentioned it to him, which he actually was already aware of it. And he said he would bring it up. They had a meeting May 18th. And he said he would bring up our discussion and the library's interest at that meeting.
That was the May 18th meeting. Yeah, the Pepper went. I'm not sure that came up, but I'll double check.
Okay. So that was.
That's what I said when he got home. Was I said, did you guys talk about the library? But all right, I'll double check on that.
Okay.
Well,
And then just want to mention so the RFP, I did check on that. They are in the process, they said, of reviewing qualifications from submissions they've received. The RFP does mention, see, I did print it out here, and 8 acres. So the whole lot is, I believe, 17.8 acres. And so the RFP that's mentioned is only 8, which I believe is basically that's the school, right where the school sits. So that RFP does not include, the land between, I don't believe.
Okay,
That's
great.
kind of where that stands.
That's great.
Was there anything else you wanted to add, Corinne?
well, the meeting last week, basically, a lot was, about the election and everything. And the only thing that I'm not sure everyone knows is Carol Brewster, who always was at our events recording them for cable, retired. So they had kind of like a little celebration. But on hearing this about parks and fields and the space, I guess I'm a little concerned because Karen and I, we attended the meeting last time we could attend in person, and Selectmen agreed that I could be on the McQuon reuse and the Plymouth Colony, and nothing has happened with that. And right now, I'm hesitant to speak further as we're being recorded. So
I would like to have a discussion maybe of our options. We did send a letter expressing our interest. Can that be brought up to the selectmen? And
I think we have to revisit that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also wondering, do we have that RF? Teresa would probably know the best out of all of us. That RFP, is that something the library should be doing, Teresa?
No, you're muted.
You're on mute.
Sorry. I don't know if we're at a point to do an RFP. I don't know if you have if you're doing an RFP for design, if you're doing an RFP
Well,
for a developer.
Next step is project manager, architect. We have other work to do.
I mean, I think what we need is to go to the selectmen and say, okay, you gave authorization to Parks and Fields to put in fields and do an RFP. We'd like you to give us authorization and then get a map. And so it's really clearly delineated, because once Parks and Fields puts out an RFP and people bid on it, they may pick certain areas that it'd be better if we were coordinating those, I think.
Okay. All right. So
Like, what happens to the baseball field? Does that get moved over, or do they just assume the baseball field stays there, right? Those types of decisions if we were coordinating together. So, I mean, I think the process should be when we should confirm that Parks and Fields has the authorization from the selectmen. 2, we should confirm that Parks and Fields knows that the library is also looking at the land next to the library. And then 3, assuming that that's all in line, we should go to the selectmen and say, we also are interested in putting out an RFP for this piece of property.
right, and then there's the fact about the senior center. So it seems like the idea of putting in 55 plus place condos or townhouses, that's nixed. We're not even going that way. Okay, so Parks and Field has not done an RFP.
But I would say that I say that only on secondhand knowledge, because I too have asked to be part of the McQuon Reuse Committee and have never been invited to a meeting. So I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, Karen and I have some work to do, and we'll keep everyone updated.
do we have any idea in terms of acres I think we asked this before, how many acres would be recommended for a new library if we were doing new construction?
Yeah, so it's the building square footage is what the recommendation is, and there's not necessarily any set acreage that goes with that. I think I did talk to the town planner once about, if we know we want a 16,000 foot square building, what does that mean for acreage? But I don't think there's any specific guidelines, for
Yeah,
that.
okay.
So we're not sure really at this point how much we would need.
I think we ought to do everything we can to figure out an estimate though,
Hmm.
to include parking and
Yeah,
it seems an opportunity is being taken from us by two different groups.
yes, and I'm a little concerned because if we were not able to secure the funds to build a new library, there's still the option to expand. Well, if what has been said does in fact happen, then that's taken away from us as well.
And the other thing to remember is the consultant we hired, who's an expert,
I
and
think
perhaps the cost of a new building would be similar to reconstruction and addition and might even be less. So
right, and especially now that well, there's a shortage of lumber. The costs of construction, they say the average home has someone building new construction, it going up by 36,000 plus.
Yeah, so I'll call the MBLC again and talk to their building specialist and just see, kind of present this to her and see what she would recommend that we do based on, like you said, that these different groups interested in the land and, how we can kind of, get some more information that if we would need to present it to somebody, that we have some information to present. So we'll give them a call.
That would be great. Maybe you could reach out to Ruth too. You might have an idea of acreage.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else with that? So foundation, Linda, did you?
okay. The music at Kiwanee seems to be coming along well. I was able to set up a website for online ticket sales through Square successfully. And I did talk with Dory recently and found out, as other town departments and buildings, they're lifting all restrictions at the end of the month, of this month. And talked about tables and space, and she thought maybe 14 tables would give room to space out tables with the projected amount of guests we wanted. If there were 14 tables with 8 at each, that would allow 112 guests, but we were talking approximately 20. We were thinking of a gradual ticket sale rollout, maybe first to foundation members and supporters, then the online listserv, and then posted on social media for the library and in the library. Would the staff, someone on staff, be able to help with the flyer for this, where it's a event for adult patrons and
Yeah.
the community? Now, I can talk to you more detail about it later, Karen, but I'm thinking that we might need to have the flyer created with the understanding that there may have to be some edits in the wording. I don't know. Maybe we want a statement that guests will be required to follow current mask guidelines or something like that. I don't know. And maybe by then we won't even need that kind of statement, but that sound okay, Karen?
Yeah. Yep, sure.
Okay.
Linda, I have a question.
Okay,
Did you say 14 tables or 20 tables?
14.
14, okay, because there's only one tablecloth, so I'll go buy the tablecloth.
Excuse me, you said we didn't have the tablecloths?
I thought there were some, but there's a lot of rectangular ones.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Yeah, so I'll go buy the round ones.
Okay, thank you. And you can just submit the receipt.
Mhm.
And I will connect with Paul, see if he wants to go over and look at the venue and decide where he wants to set up, and see if he needs extension cords or power strips. In the online donation option was all set up from FrontStream, and we did receive just today a new donation electronically into our bank account. So that was nice to have. Kareem won't have to deposit the check. And the donor's information will be added to our spreadsheet of memberships. That's pretty much it on the foundation, I think. Does anyone have any questions or comments on?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'll send you the meeting link tomorrow, Linda, for the next foundation meeting.
All right, thank you.
When is the next foundation meeting date?
Let me double check.
June 15.
Yes,
June 15th?
6:45.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and the next trustees meeting is June 22nd, the week after that, 6:45. So if there's nothing else, I guess we can adjourn.
Okay, can we stay on after the recording stops for just a minute?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to call the trustees meeting, May 25th, 2021 to adjourn. The time is 8:16 p.m. Second?
Second,
Okay, roll call. Let's see, Diana, Linda,
yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Diana.
I already got
Oh, I
it.
already called you. John, you've moved around a couple of times.
Yes.
The other
All in
Diane.
favor, thank you.
All right. So I'm going to stop the recording.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
I